son was about 5 years old when he started presenting some odd behaviors.
Motor tics and blinking of the eyes, and
Head jerking.
he did a head jerking movement, which like he was nodding, but it was obvious that he had no control over these movements.
It was very frightening. We didn't know what was happening to our son. It was, in 24 hours, he was like a different child.
It was a rapid change. You went from a child who was one way to a child that in many ways you didn't recognize, and we were frightened. We went to see the pediatrician and trying to find some sort of an answer as to why these things were happening to our son, and it just seemed like no matter what doctor we went to, we would not get an answer.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense what the doctors were saying.
Some doctors said, oh, he has a motor tic disorder, and boys do that, and don't worry about it, it'll go away by itself.
Right. And it wasn't going away, and we had to do something very quickly.
It seemed that it was getting worse, and his condition was progressing, and we went to a series of neurologists and other professionals to try to find out what was wrong, and finally we came across the fact that my son had come down with an autoimmune condition that was caused by streptococcus bacteria, or strep throat, something that kids get all the time. And this bacteria caused a situation in his body and triggered all of these symptoms, from these movements to emotional issues and
emotional
anxiety.
liability, didn't want to go to school, was very afraid to go to school.
And this as from a parent's perspective, was just beyond us, and this sent us on a course of pharmaceutical drugs for my son for close to 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And his condition just progressively got worse, and we were looking desperately for an answer. As people of faith, we were deeply in prayer about the situation, asking God for an answer. Just give us the tools, something that we can do to help our child. We have one child, and it was just devastating to us to watch him go from such a vibrant young child to a child who was battling something that really was hard to understand. And we came across some articles and some research data on essential oils, something that really was something we really didn't have a grasp on, didn't understand. But we had heard about it before.
Yes.
A friend, your friend from high school.
My friend of mine, she said, you need to try essential oils. And at the time, it wasn't time for that yet. And so
it was almost 5 years before. And when something isn't time for you, it's not time for you. But now we were desperate.
Time.
And so we began to look into it. And she told us about a woman who had used essential oils more in a therapeutic way to support her child's body so that the body could recover, could heal itself. I've always understood from a biblical standpoint that our bodies were created to heal themselves if you give them the right support. And so this was interesting to me. And so we reached out to this lady, and she was a physical therapist, and she began to share with us how essential oils could affect our son's body and how they could support him to heal his own body, to his body to step up, his immune system to recover. And we began our journey there with essential oils.
And we started using them, and in about a month we started seeing a few things change. And maybe to some people they were little things, but for us it was big, because that showed us that something was happening.
Something was taking place.
There was a change happening, that the oils were actually doing something.
You could see that as we progressed, little things became bigger things, and things were disappearing, and it was clear. It was clear that the oils were changing him, that something was taking place within his body, something that truthfully had not happened the traditional route. We never saw a breakthrough like this, and we tried and we sought that. And so it's not that our thought process is that we don't like the traditional methods, but they didn't help us. And so we reached out to something that is very ancient, something that is, from our standpoint, very biblical. And our son changed, and within months, I would say, the condition that had plagued him for a few years began to disappear. His body began to heal itself. And I think that's important, because we understood that it's not the essential oils, but it's the body. It's the essential oils that become the support system to help the body do what it's supposed to do. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. Absolutely. And have the ability to heal ourselves. God put that within us. And then here's this tool that we were able to take and harness and able to help the body do what I think God intended all along.
Yeah, and we were so excited when we saw our son was back. He was just doing wonderful.
Everything changed.
He started going back to school. He was happy again. He was able to function.
His grades in school
Yes.
improved. The motor tics disappeared. The movements disappeared, and even from a scientific standpoint, even from a clinical standpoint, the medical data showed that something took place in my child, and what was there before was no longer there now.